So CP 2030 is this overarching grid reform that fundamentally changes how grid's going to look at them ordering the queue. So they're moving from first applied, first connected, where your application date determines where you are in the queue, to first ready, first connected.
All projects are going to be impacted, including demand projects, indirectly as the queue ordering changes. And in response to that, NESO and the transmission operators will redesign the planned reinforcement works and reassign these to the projects that are left in the queue following this one-off process known as the gate to whole queue process.
So NESO have looked at the grid where they want it to be by 2030, 2035, and ultimately 2050. And they know how much BESS we're going to need, what sort of solar generation we're going to need, what sort of wind generation we're going to need, and they're going to start filling buckets with projects from that. Once they reach a point, then they're going to be deciding on what projects then are going to slot in and how they're going to slot in. And they're deciding project readiness by planning status. So the more advanced your project is in planning, the higher NESO is going to consider you ready to connect, and the more they're going to push you forward in this queue.
The CP 2030 assessment that Clough have developed can deliver to clients an Excel detailing all of the projects that their project is competing against within a zonal queue, including the relative orderings of those projects and their planning statuses. This gives the client a view of where they stand with respect to the capacity cutoff within that zone. Also, we can assess the impact of what happens if I submit a planning application. How much will that improve my project standing? What's the risk that this project faces at this time?
So fundamentally, this adds a lot of uncertainty to a lot of different projects. Your project will be affected in some way, whether that's beneficially moving forwards or being kicked back to gate one. What we can do is we can look at your projects and we can assess and we can work out whether or not it's going to be protected.
We are constantly engaging with the industry, with developers, with NESO on CP 2030. We've read the thousands of pages that have been published, or we have a channel of communication open with NESO and can engage with them directly on specific questions that clients might have. We've had years of experience on connection offer due diligence, the grid connections process, and CP 2030 really lies at the center of all that. So we can bring that experience into our analysis, into how we engage with you as a developer, and the advice that we can give you following this.